Good morning, everybody, or good afternoon to all the people out there that live on the East Coast, and welcome into our IM6 MI6 Sports Network NFL free agency spectacle. It's our watch party here for day one of free agency, and what a day it's been thus far. There's been a flurry of moves that have gone on in the NFL, and we come on the air right as we get started here with breaking news. Longtime Minnesota Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins is no longer a Viking. He has departed for the Atlanta Falcons, according to Diana Rossini and Adam Schefter. That has just broke right now. I'm joined with my guys, James Gonzalez and Sammy Sharp, who hasn't been on a show in so very long. James, I'll start with you first. How are you doing, my man? And how are you doing first before we get to the Cousins news?
It's amazing, getting up this morning. I was up early just thinking about like what could happen, and man, just an array of moves have already happened that kind of surprised everyone. I think there's more clarity now than some, and there's still more frenzy to go. So it's crazy already.
Yeah, definitely. It's definitely been super crazy thus far. A lot of stuff has happened. There's going to be definitely more ramifications from each move in the coming minutes, hours, and days as well. Sammy, it's been a long time, my man. Great to have you on the program today. How are you doing here on this first day of free agency? And congratulations to your Steelers. You guys finally have a quarterback now in Russell Wilson. Oh. It looks like Sammy dropped off for a sec, but I think there he is. Sammy, how are you doing today, my man?
Great day to be alive, especially in Pittsburgh. Have a new guy in the quarterback, so it's been a phenomenal day of news.
Yeah, definitely. Congratulations on getting Russell Wilson. He's definitely gonna help you guys a lot this upcoming year. But so how this show works is we're just all gonna be on our phones, our laptops, whatever devices that you guys use. And we're just going to be, watching out there on Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. And we're just literally going to be reacting to breaking news that comes in or has come in already. And we're probably going to do this show for maybe an hour and a half, 2 hours, maybe even more, depending on how big the news is and how much news there is that comes in as we continue to go on here on the show. But let's start with the first news, fellas, the big news of the day so far, and that is Kirk Cousins is going to the Atlanta Falcons. James, I'm going to start with you. Kirk Cousins, it's going to feel weird. No longer in the no longer in Minnesota. He's going to the Atlanta Falcons.
I was thinking about this, with the family wanting to move there, the wife having, connections there in ATL. So I figured that was going to happen. And then just shows like Justin Jefferson, he could work with any quarterback. We've seen that, last year. So I don't think it will affect the Vikings too much, and they don't have to pay a quarterback so much anymore. But Kirk Cousins, man, that 4-year deal, it's a lot of money. I don't think he'll go the whole 4 years, maybe a couple of years in Atlanta, maybe one if it doesn't go so well. Man, but it's something I thought would happen just based on the family moving there. And now he has a lot of weapons to work with. Great running game. So I think it's a great move for Kirk Cousins. He plays in an easier division as well now if you can dethrone the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, because the other two, the Saints, are in cap hell, and then Carolina's just coming from the ground up and trying to get up there. So it's a great move for Kirk Cousins, I think.
All right, we welcome in one of my fellow co-hosts here on the network, Ben Cruz. I think Ben is coming at us from his work right now. Ben, how are you doing this morning? And welcome into our watch party, man. And what a great day of free agency thus far.
Yeah, glad to join in for a little bit and, talk with you guys. Sammy, it's been a hot minute since we talked, so it's been good to catch up. Isaiah and James, obviously I saw you all last night. But yeah, there's been a lot of traction, like I said. Obviously Kirk Cousins going to the Falcons. James, obviously, you called that yesterday when we had our show. So, yeah, just a lot of stuff. And obviously, Saquon's going to the Eagles. One of my managers is a Giants fan who I just told him like 5-10 minutes ago, and he's not happy. So, yeah, just a lot of stuff going on.
All right, Sammy, what about you? What do you think about Kirk Cousins to the Falcons? Do you think that this is a great deal or a bad deal? And do you think that this puts the Falcons now in the driver's seat to win the NFC South?
Well, it's not a hard division to win at the moment. There's still a lot of free agency left and a lot of trades that are going to happen this offseason. But it's a lot of money going to a good quarterback. It's a mediocre to good quarterback. That's what Kirk Cousins is, and that's what the Falcons need, especially when you got Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, and Drake London there. Now they can really just focus on the line and building that defense out, and they should be in the theoretically be in the driver's seat. But we'll see also what happens the rest of the division and quarterbacks are going to unfold there.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with you. I think it's a good move. They just needed a quarterback, like you mentioned. They had so many offensive weapons, Pets and others, and I think with this new coaching staff, they'll be able to use the weapons the way that they should be used, not like Arthur Smith used it when he was the head coach of the Atlanta Falcons. But other breaking news we do have is Saquon Barkley, fellas, is headed to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think it's a 3-year deal, James, if you can correct me. A 3-year deal for Saquon Barkley. I mean, we're coming at you guys in real time, so we're trying to get the numbers as we speak. But Saquon Barkley is going to the Eagles. Sammy, I'll start with you first on this. What do you think about that move?
It was. I don't think the Eagles paid a lot. I think it was like 3 years, $38 million from what I saw. I have to find it again, but it doesn't do too much for me as far as becoming a better team. I really think the running back has become more of it's been an obsolete position the last handful of years, and the Eagles are one of the teams that you could just, as long as a guy that can come out of the backfield, can run a little, is fast, can catch out of the backfield, play make. As long as you get plug and play with a guy like that, the Eagles' offense will be remaining the same. He's a little bit more explosive, but hopefully he stays healthy throughout his tenure at Philly. But it doesn't do too much for me as far as make like the Eagles becoming a head and shoulders better team. It's not that much for me.
All right, Ben, what do you think about this move? The Eagles are signing Saquon Barkley. He's leaving the Giants to go to a division rival, which, I mean, unfortunately for the Giants and your coworker, it stings for sure. But what do you think about this move for Philadelphia and the Giants? Oh, Ben, I think you're muted.
Yeah, well, it's just his he obviously, when he's healthy, is one of the best backs in the league. Obviously, that the Eagles really kind of struggle with their running game consistently the last couple of years, and they use it a lot. Of course, Jalen Hurts runs the ball a lot, specifically on his own, and it's just another threat specifically on that offense. So I like it for the Eagles, and obviously for the Giants, it's tough to say for a lot of their fans. And I'll be curious this week about the New York Sports Radio about this. But yeah, it's obviously good for the Eagles, and obviously a good deal too.
We have breaking news, fellas. 2 moves, actually. The Patriots are signing running back Antonio Gibson. So, Ben, your Patriots get an offensive weapon. And Andrew Van Ginkel, former linebacker of the Dolphins, has agreed to terms on a 2-year deal to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. So the Vikings are stocking up on the defense. James, I'll go to you first on this. What do you think about these moves? Van Ginkel to the Dolphins, as well as Gibson. And also, you just messaged the Giants have just signed offense or guard Joe Runyon for 3 years and $30 million to upgrade their offensive line. What's your overall thoughts on these moves thus far, the three that we just broke live on the air?
Yeah, I saw that Van Ginkel, he signed with the Vikings from the Dolphins. And I thought that was a good move. We saw earlier today the Vikings went out and got another defensive presence as well. That was Jonathan Greenard. He got a 4-year deal, so the Vikings are going defensively here. So that's crazy to see. Since they don't have, I guess money for a quarterback, they went defensively. That tells me they're going to try to draft a quarterback or move up.
And also, really quick, James, too, that the Vikings are looking at Sam Darnold, according to sources as well.
Wow. Yeah, I can see that. Antonio Gibson going to New England, that's really good. They need a motor running back. He's really good out of the backfield. He can catch passes as well. I really like that one. And then I also have cornerback Sean Murphy Bunting going from Tennessee to Arizona.
Ooh. It's a good move.
And then Will Lutz went to Jacksonville, the kicker.
Yep, that was a surprise right there. I thought for sure he was going to stay with Sean Payton in Denver, but I think the Jags have been very active actually in free agency thus far. They actually outbid the Broncos surprisingly for Will Lutz, so good move for them there. But Sammy, what do you think about Van Ginkel to the Vikings, Gibson to the Patriots, as well as Joe Runyon to the New York Giants on a 3-year contract?
I think the Lions definitely needed some more O line. So the Giants, when they will add on more O line as well. As far as Antonio Gibson, though, it's going to be between him and Ramondre Stevenson as the top back in New England. So it'll be interesting how that unfolds because he's a really talented running back. It's just not what the Commanders want because they obviously want more of a power back with Brian Robinson.
Yeah, Antonio Gibson's more of like a complimentary, guy that catches passes out of the backfield, a guy that's like a change of speed back. So that definitely will be interesting. I think it is a good deal for your Patriots, Ben. But Ben, you are the resident Pats fan here on the air. Do you like or you don't like this Antonio Gibson move?
I like it. I think that the Patriots have kind of liked that pass catching back the last couple of years. We obviously have the power back with Ramondre Stevenson, but I know we used Zeke Elliott last year and he was okay, but obviously he's getting older. I think this is really underrated signing for the team. This was not a guy specifically on my radar for the team, but I really like this move a lot. So if he stays healthy specifically too, because I know he's had his injuries in the past, but I think he can be like a James White type in the past. The Patriots love to use their pass catching backs too, so I'm all in favor for this.
James, I did see that the message that you mentioned that the Vikings are going after Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens there. Justin Jefferson, fellas, if he doesn't get the quarterback that he wants, is there a possibility that he might want out? Honestly,
I'll go first. I don't think so. No, I think he's gonna stay. He's too valuable for that team.
You think he's going to stay regardless of the quarterback, even if it's potentially Sam Darnold, Josh Dobbs, Nick Mullins, or Jaron Hall?
I think he'll stay temporarily, but eventually all these guys want to win and they want to get paid. It's a combination. They're going to get paid either way, so they're going to start wanting to win, and he will get impatient eventually. It's a matter of time.
All right, and then we also have we have Saquon Barkley going to Philly. We have Josh Jacobs going to the Green Bay Packers. Yep,
that's a good one.
Raiders. James, how are you feeling about that move? Jacobs leaving your Raiders for Green Bay.
Shoot, I actually feel good about that. It would take a lot of money to re-sign him for like 3-4 years or whatever. I'm just happy the Raiders aren't doing that. I mean, so many years, tagging him. I bet he got sick of that. Remember him and Max Crosby were sitting in his car waiting to see in the parking lot if they would get a deal done, and they didn't. So it's just clarity now. And it just shows you the Raiders, they're getting younger at running back, which isn't really a bad thing. And they put priority to defense, and I'm happy with that. Green Bay, I'm trying to figure this out. Okay, so you have Aaron Jones, you have A.J. Dillon. Like, which one are you getting rid of? Are you getting rid of Aaron Jones, who is younger, and you're hoping Jacobs can fill in for Jones, or are you getting rid of the workhorse that is A.J. Dillon, although he does get hurt a lot? But I'm wondering who gets cut. I know we were talking about that earlier with Jacobs going there now. I don't know what's going to happen.
They are working on AJ Dillon, or not AJ Dillon. They are working on Aaron Jones's contract. That's like the top priority right now in Green Bay. Reports are saying.
I think it's gonna be Aaron Jones that gets let go, James. To be honest, because I think that he's been hurt a lot recently. I mean, last year he missed a boatload of games due to injury. AJ Dillon actually had a really good year last year for the Green Bay Packers, and I just feel like that Jacobs and Aaron Jones, they kind of run similar. So I mean, I don't know what value you would get though in a Aaron Jones trade. Maybe, I mean, could you get a 4th-round pick maybe in return? Because he does have a big contract. But I mean, with all this, like, there's been a lot of running back moves like recently. I mean, you have Saquon, you have Josh Jacobs to the Packers, Tony Pollard to the Titans. I mean, this was a move, fellas, I was surprised about, because I was like, I thought the Cowboys would maybe let him go just because of the fact that, you know, he's not been the same since he's been injured. But I mean, they let him go. It looks like they don't have a replacement, and I didn't expect the Titans to get him, just because the Titans, you don't know what the Titans franchise is, because they have a new coach. They're trying to get younger, it seems like, and you bring in Pollard. It kind of reminds me, though, of a DeAndre Hopkins move. Sammy, what do you think about this Pollard to the Titans?
I think it's a pretty solid move for the Titans. It's gonna be curious. I'm gonna be curious how they use Tyjae Spears, if he's gonna get lost in the backfield with Tony Pollard, because usually what Tony Pollard was good at was being that complimentary back to Ezekiel Elliott. That's where he blew up, and that's really how he, became one of the his chance to be a feature back in Dallas. So I wonder if the Titans are going to keep Derrick Henry, because I believe they haven't cut him yet, or are they going to keep?
I think he's a free agent, actually, Sammy.
So they cut Henry?
No. His contract expired.
Okay. So either way, with Tyjae Spears, if they're going to go after someone else and pair Tony Pollard up, or or they're going to rock with Tyjae Spears and Tony Pollard as the two backs. I just don't think that would work though with how they both have the same skill set.
So, James, there's been a lot of running backs that have been off the board thus far. What did you think about Tony Pollard to the Titans? I think we did a prediction show a couple days ago, and I don't think any of us actually had Tony Pollard going to Tennessee, nor did any of us have DeAndre Swift going to the Chicago Bears. But, James, what did you think about the Pollard to Tennessee move?
I almost had it. I had him going to Arizona, where players go, where their careers go to die. Well, maybe Tennessee's another place. Because Derrick Henry's gone. They'll probably go to Dallas or somewhere else. But I think this shows the end that Derrick Henry's gone. And then Pollard, I'm hoping he stays around all 3 years, but I don't know. Maybe he'll have another injury, I think, and it'll just be unfortunate. It's a good pickup for Tennessee, but they still have so much work to do on both sides of the ball. And they still have a lot of cap space to do it. So it's a good move for him. He got paid slightly more than what he would get in Dallas.
Ben, what do you think about the Tony Pollard to the Titans move? Do you like the fit, or do you really not like the fit?
I don't know in terms of fit. It's just kind of an odd destination. I think personally for him, maybe it's trying for him to kind of prove himself again, because he's had some of his injuries in the past, and he was kind of that second fiddle for a long time over in Dallas. So I know that they have Tajay Spears over in Tennessee, but this pretty much marks the end of Derrick Henry's tenure for sure in Tennessee. So I think they kind of looked at it and be like, we want to go younger. We fill this with the younger type back, and that's what Pollard is. So I could see it and unsee it at the same time. Obviously, I can see it in terms of his young ability, but also can unsee it specifically if he wants to go for a championship because obviously that team is rebuilding. So,
This kind of reminds me of like a DeMarco Murray to Tennessee move where like good back with the Cowboys, but he was a product of that great offensive line that they had. And then when he went to Tennessee, he was just never the same because he didn't really have a good offensive line to run through. James, you mentioned about the offensive line with the Titans. That's the thing is you signed a running back in Tony Pollard. Where is he going to get the space to run through? That's my biggest question. I know Brian Callahan, he wants to run the football. He comes from that Bengals offense and even with the Raiders with John Gruden. But if the Titans don't fix that offensive line, I just don't see, like you guys mentioned, I just don't see Tony Pollard will be effective.
Yeah, it doesn't look like it, but I think Pollard went where the money went, and that's basically it. He's just going there hoping to find some lanes, but it'll take a miracle, I think, to get him over to the 1,000-yard mark for sure.
All right, a couple other moves that, as we continue to wait for more news to break here on this busy Monday, first day of free agency, Gabe Davis, fellas, is leaving the Bills. I thought he was going to stay in Buffalo, and I thought Buffalo was going to trade Stephon Diggs, but boy, was I wrong. Gabe Davis is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars. The Jags are trying to rebuild or retool their team after choking last year in the final 4 games of the season, but Sammy, I'll go to you first on this. I mean, Trevor Lawrence, he's got another number 1 receiver now to replace Calvin Ridley there in Jacksonville. Do you like what the Jaguars are doing?
I do. They also have Christian Kirk, who got hurt last year, and you could tell the passing game just wasn't there after Kirk went down. So getting 3 really good receivers in that wide receiving core is huge, especially with today's NFL. And having Trevor Lawrence with Travis Etienne, that offense is looking scary, honestly.
Yeah, Trevor Lawrence, fellas, I don't think he doesn't have any excuses next year not to play well because you have Christian Kirk, like you mentioned, you have Gabe Davis now, a speedster there. So you do have the weapons to perform, and it's going to be up to him to see what he does. But Ben, the Jaguars, they got Gabe Davis. He leaves Buffalo for the Jags. What did you think about this move?
yeah, I really like it for the Jags. The Jags really love to spread the football. Gabe Davis is a really good receiver. He's been a number 2 receiver for most of his time in Buffalo. So he goes to a place now in Jacksonville. Apparently, according to sources, that the Jags are trying to keep Calvin Ridley as of right now, but obviously time will tell because he's going to have a lot of suitors. But obviously, even if you don't have Ridley, you'd have Etienne at running back, you have Ingram at tight end, and you obviously have Christian Kirk, like Sammy mentioned. So I really like them fit there, and like Isaiah mentioned, there's no excuses for Trevor Lawrence to not have a good year this year. He has pretty much everything right in front of him.
Well, and then there's also reports right now that I'm reading that T. Higgins requested a trade this morning. That was a very interesting move. The Jags could actually be one of the teams that could be a fit. I don't know how that's going to work though. Now that they got Gabe Davis in free agency, but yeah, I don't know how that's going to work out. But,
so the thing about Higgins, Isaiah, is I don't know if you've heard, but he's essentially asking for like a first or early second. So there's going to be a lot of teams.
Do the Jags have a first-round pick this year?
I'm not sure, but I don't think the Jaguars going to go all in on T. Higgins because they're going to have to pay the guy a lot.
Yeah,
keep him.
I could see like the Panthers. Like I just don't know if like AFC to trade it for an AFC type team. I know obviously the Chiefs, be a perfect fit for him, but it's a team like Carolina maybe. I wouldn't be shocked even if we went back to Cincy, because I know that there's been a lot of times where you look at Debo Samuel, he requested a trade, I think, and then he came back. So I think he's going to probably try to gauge the market, maybe use it as leverage, and then kind of go from there.
James, I'll go to you next on this. What do you think about Gabe Davis going to the Jags?
Man, they're really going for it like they did, a couple of years ago with the wide receiver moves. I saw that they kind of beefed up their offensive line with signing Mitch Morse. He was released last week by the Bills, so he's a Jaguar. And then they extended their guard Blake Hans to a contract extension, so that's really good for Trevor Lawrence. As you guys mentioned, there's really no excuse now for them not to win the division or take it back, I should say. Man, but we got to see what Houston does. They're not really doing much right now. I want to see what Houston comes up with all that cap space. I know they did get defensive back Lonnie Johnson. That's pretty much it. But, I want to see what else happens with Houston before I give the Jags more credit.
Yeah, staying on the Jags. I mean, I'm reading right now, they got Mitch Morse, like you mentioned, James, to beef up their offensive line. 2-year, $10.5 million contract. They also have beefed up the defense. They picked up Darnell Savage from the Green Bay Packers. I think he had a 3-year deal. And then they got Will Lutz from the Denver Broncos to go along. So Jags have been very busy here on the start of free agency thus far. But fellas, any of you guys can take this. But what would you guys grade the Jags free agency thus far here on day one? You guys give them an A, B, F, maybe? Who knows? What do you guys?
I'll go B. I'd say B. I feel like they've made some moves specifically, not like splash moves. I mean, Gabe Davis, I want to consider a splash, but like impact moves. So I'd probably go with like B.
For me, I would probably go with the B as well. I mean, their issue last year was definitely Trevor Lawrence. He did not play well down the stretch. But I mean, I like Gabe Davis, but is he really a number one wide receiver? That's my only concern. But then the defense, I mean, they needed help on defense since their defense has been really mediocre the last several years. Darnell Savage, I think, will definitely help that secondary a lot. And isn't Jacksonville, fellas, the team that missed a lot of field goals because their kicker was just so unreliable last year? So Will Lutz will definitely help that as well. So, Sammy, what grade do you give the Jags off season? You like it?
I'd say as of right now a B plus. Still very young off season, so that's what I'm also taking into consideration. But as far as addressing some depth issues that they had, and I mean with Trevor Lawrence, I don't think he's going to play with your concussion for about 5-6 weeks like he did last year. So they'll have that going for them. But I'll say B plus to A minus right now, as of right now.
All right, James, how about you?
I'll go B minus. I still just like last year. I feel like they needed a backup running back for ETN Jr. I think they kind of failed on that. And then defensively, I thought they would go get another piece on the defensive line to blitz in for those quarterbacks. I'm just waiting for that. So I'm gonna probably get it down to C actually because of the two areas I think they really need.
Breaking news, Packers released Aaron Jones just now, according to Adam Schefter. So another talented running back is on the market. Sammy, what do you think about this? Packers just cut. I know we talked about Aaron Jones literally like a few minutes ago, but he's out of Green Bay now. Where do you see him landing potentially?
I don't know. It depends. I think maybe Los Angeles for the Chargers. They were looking for a running back. They said. So we'll see. There's not a lot. Running back is no longer in high demand, so he could go to a team that really already has an established running back, and take a significant pay cut.
You guys probably know where I want to see him go. Not trying to be biased, but I want to see him go to San Fran. But I don't know how that would work out with him and Christian McCaffrey. I mean, that would definitely be a deadly combination for sure. But wow, I mean, another like, dude, the running back market has been absolutely bonkers today with all these moves coming off the board. And then now you see that Aaron Jones has been released. Ben, Aaron Jones, man, cut, longtime Packer, cut from the Green Bay Packers. Watch out for watch out for New York. The Jets, remember the Jets really want another number two that is a number one to be their number two next to Brees Hall. So I could see him reuniting with Aaron Rodgers. And fellas, imagine Brees Hall and Aaron Jones in the same backfield. I mean, we talked about Dalvin Cook and Brees Hall last year. But Aaron Jones, I know he's had injury issues, but when he's healthy, he's a way more dynamic back than Dalvin Cook has ever been, or than Dalvin Cook has been thus far, because he's not in his prime anymore. But I could see that, man, and that would be such a killer of a weapon for the New York Jets. But Ben, what do you think about Aaron Jones going to the or Aaron Jones being cut by the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, before we get back to work, yeah, with this overall move, wow, kind of shocking. Obviously, now with Jacobs, though, over in Green Bay, they have that insurance and that stability as the power back over in Green Bay. For me, watch out for Dallas. Obviously, they just moved on from Tony Pollard. If Derrick Henry doesn't go over to Dallas, I could definitely see them looking at getting Aaron Jones. He's a really good power back. The Cowboys have a really good offensive line, so I think it'll be a great fit. But like you mentioned, Isaiah, the running back market has been absolutely bonkers, and you know, it's kind of the start, I think, of a crazy week. So I'm looking forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Yeah, appreciate you, Ben, for coming on and jumping in for a bit. But looks like Sammy had some things he had to take care of. So looks like it might be just me and James for the rest of this watch party thus far. But wow, James, Aaron Jones cut by the Green Bay Packers. Just a crazy move. Let's talk about your Raiders. Christian Wilkins. You guys signed the biggest fish that was there to start free agency after Chris Jones re-upped with the Kansas City Chiefs, man. I know you were down on your Raiders. I know you were potentially saying, oh, we might get Jamal Adams. Like, the news is not looking good. But as a Raider fan, you got to be pumped up about this move because you guys have Christian Wilkins, Max Crosby, on opposite ends. I mean, it's going to be terrifying for the quarterbacks. And I know Antonio Pierce said we're gonna try to be like the bad boy Pistons to Patrick Mahomes and the Kansas City Chiefs. I mean, you guys might be doing it with all that rugged defensive linemen you guys got stockpiling there in Vegas. What do you think about that move?
Well, first, let me mention about Aaron Jones. They talks did not go well today. And that's why you saw Jacobs go to the Green Bay Packers from the Raiders. And Jones, I'll say either Dallas, Baltimore, or even the Raiders. They might take a flyer on him. Those are the destinations. But for Christian Wilkins, he's a plug up the middle, stop the run. And the Raiders already did that last year. Again, they were one of the best teams late with defensive purposes, passing or rushing defense. And that was fun to see. I haven't seen that in forever. And getting Wilkins just ultimately clogs up the middle, which was much needed. The Raiders are getting guys that really are just journeymen up the middle. Now you get a bona fide plugger up the middle, and I just love the move. It brings toughness. He's a funny guy, too. If you ever hear him on his mic'd up segments, he's a really good guy. And I think he's going to fit in well. Again, though, it has to be a united front, though. It's got to be us against the world, and it's got to be that when he comes to the Raiders. He's got to understand that the division is tough. Don't let anybody not think that. It's so damn tough. The Chargers are going to be better. The Broncos, we'll see about Denver if they take a step back. But the Chiefs are still there. But it still shows that, hey, maybe the Raiders have something left. Now you got to figure out, okay, who's going to be the quarterback, who's going to be the running back starting. It's just a good move, though. I really, really like that. I didn't expect that. I thought, he was probably going to go to New England. I thought he was. I have breaking news. Well, yeah, I guess it's breaking news.
All right, give me a sec. Let me find that iconic intro. Go ahead, James. What's your breaking news?
The Minnesota Vikings continue to spend all that Kirk Cousins money on defensive players. They get former Texans linebacker Blake Cashman on a 3-year deal, $25.5 million. The linebacker, the former Texan Blake Cashman. So, man, Houston is losing a lot of defensive players. And then Minnesota is really stocking up on defensive players today.
You know what's crazy is this guy, Blake Cashman, was one of the best linebackers, or was one of their better linebackers in Houston last season. And their defense, they weren't that good, honestly. I mean, they were okay. They weren't like, the offense carried, obviously, with C.J. Stroud. But the defense was not bad, but it wasn't great. Like, it was good. But like you mentioned, they're losing all this defensive talent. I don't know what they're doing. It looks like they're prioritizing the defense over the offense, which is not good because you need to have a great defense to win in the NFL, especially if you want to win a Super Bowl. But I don't understand this move. I mean, last year he had 56 solo tackles. He had 56 solo tackles. He had 2 sacks, 1 interception. I mean, this guy is really good in coverage. You can put him as a pass rusher, and he can get after the quarterback on blitzes. But him and Jonathan Grenard, I know Jonathan Grenard, we haven't really talked about him yet. He was part of the early first stages of moves that happened. But Jonathan Grenard, I mean, that guy, him and Jonathan Grenard going to the Minnesota Vikings. I'm surprised because I would think like, okay, Kevin O'Connell is an offensive-minded coach, so you would think he's going to stockpile the offense, defense, like he's not really going to worry about it. But I'm surprised. I mean, they got Grenard now. They've got now with Cashman. Who knows what's going to happen with Danielle Hunter? I mean, there's been conflicting reports. I saw one report, James. I don't know how factual it is that he signed with the Niners. I haven't seen anything to confirm it yet. So I don't know if you have seen anything. I haven't seen anything, but it's interesting. I mean, Packers obviously with their great quarterback and Jordan Love, he's going to be special. They've got Josh Jacobs now, so their offense is going to be even more explosive. The Bears know they have to win. DeAndre Swift, we'll talk about him in a sec. I don't really like that move. And then they haven't really done a lot. And then the Lions haven't really done a lot. So, I mean, the Vikings right now in that division is that the early winners of free agency. But it's interesting that they're stockpiling the defense because you would think offensive-minded head coach, he would want an offensive-minded team.
Okay, Danielle Hunter, I'm guessing, will be a Detroit Lion. I'm just guessing that. I think him and Hutchinson, that would be awesome. Maybe that's why it's taken a while. Also, not really breaking news, but the Colts re-signed defensive end Tyquan Lewis. I think it's a good move for them up front. Yeah, when you want to talk about Swift here for going to the Bears from the Eagles, 3-year, $24 million deal. That seems to be the going rate for running backs right now. 3 years, 24 mil. That's the same that Pollard got. But I think those guys are pretty much the same value wise when you really think about it. Of course, Swift is older, but the Bears. I don't know if they should be doing something more defensive, or in the draft they're going more offensive with receivers and quarterback. So maybe that's what they're waiting for. So it's an okay move. Swift has shown he can be valuable, but it seems like last season with Eagles he kind of got swept up in a way with all the problems they had. But, last season, he wasn't getting the ball as much. Jalen Hurts was protecting the ball or running the ball too much. So it's a good move for the Bears, I think, just because quarterback is whoever it's going to be, Caleb Williams or Fields or whomever. It's a good, reliable running source. So I do like that.
All right, we do have breaking news here from the NFL that just broke. Adam Schefter with the bomb. Robert Hunt, one of the coveted guards here in free agency, is signing with the Carolina Panthers to go and protect Bryce Young. The deal, we don't have the deal yet. Also, former Raiders free agent. Yep. Oh, you got it? Okay, go ahead, James.
Yeah, so it's a 5-year, $100 million deal. $100 million deal. $63 million guaranteed. The Panthers. I'll tell you what, the Panthers shot from like full court like you do on 2K on mistake. Instead of pressing X, you press circle. This is just what the Carolina Panthers do. They just go overboard a lot with their signings. But maybe they see something in him, the former offensive guard from Miami. But man, this just seems like a reach by Carolina. I don't like the figures on this.
Say the numbers again, James.
5-year, $100 million deal with $63 million guaranteed. Woo!
That calls for a boom right there. Wow. Robert Hunt, that's the second $100 million deal of the day. Christian Wilkins, first Miami Dolphin gets it. Now another Miami Dolphin gets it, and Robert Hunt. That's oh my God, that is outrageous. What are the Panthers doing, man? Like, you don't give a guard $100 million.
And 63 guaranteed too. That's just crazy to me. That's just, again, I think it's a reach there, but they really need to protect. They really need to protect Bryce Young. I do have another signing here.
Go ahead.
The Raiders defensive tackle, former Raider, I should say, Belial Nichols goes to the Arizona Cardinals. So remember, he was a guy that I talked about yesterday that would probably leave if there was another defensive tackle going to the Raiders. Well, guess what? Christian Watkins went to the Raiders. So now Nichols gets out of that area with the Raiders and goes to the Cardinals. And maybe he can be more explosive with the Cardinals. They need all the help they can get. So you're seeing the domino effect with certain teams getting someone and then other players leaving. You can see that with Aaron Jones earlier today.
Well, I mean, James, I hate to ignore the topic about like the guy that you just mentioned, but I'm still blown away about Robert Hunt's deal. I mean, my jaw literally dropped hearing that, dude. I'm looking at guards or offensive linemen in general that make $100 million. You know, there's only one, right? Trent Williams. This guy better, for this to be worth it.
Way.
This guy has to be Trent Williams level. He's got to make Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl, and he can only give up maybe 1 or 2 sacks a year. That's it. Like, and maybe that might not even be worth it, because you don't give a guard a $100 million contract. We've never seen this before. Like, he might be the first, I think, because Trent Williams is a tackle. Yeah, he's a tackle. So those guys, like, okay, 6-year deal. That at that time, that was like a mind-blowing figure. But now you give a guard a $100 million deal, like it makes no sense. Oh my God! I mean, Dan Morgan, who has never been a general manager before, he's worked in player personnel. I mean, that shows his inexperience. You just don't give that type of figure out. Like no
And it
matter.
shows you. It shows you too. If anybody's willing to go to Carolina, you're gonna have to pay for them to be there.
It's like
They have space.
I don't want to take a shot at my guy Adam Barber, but it's like anybody wants to go to Detroit, play for the Pistons, you got to pay up. I mean, that's why Monty Williams got the largest contract in NBA coaching history before Greg Popovich and Eric Spoelstra surpassed him recently. But I mean, good Lord. Robert Hunt. When I saw that, I was, oh my God, I'm still mind blown, James. I mean, oh God.
It happened. It just. I mean,
we're both shocked.
He better, he better be like, he better be the best there is. Oh, let's talk really quick about T. Higgins requesting a trade. Now, okay, Tyler Boyd is out there for a free agent as well. And it just shows you T. Higgins, he's not going to get paid by the Bengals. They already franchise tagged him, but it was that, non-exclusive one where, he can ask out. You knew this was going to happen eventually with the Cincinnati Bengals. Eventually you have to pay Jamar Chase. You already paid Joe Burrow. And you haven't really done anything on the defensive front. And I'm waiting for that to happen. I'm just shocked they haven't really. I thought Van Ginkel, I thought that would have been a good move for him to go to Cincinnati and really help that defensive linebackers. But I'm wondering where T. Higgins would go via trade. There's a lot of places that could still use a wide receiver. Now, Jaguars are off the board. I don't really see that. Raiders could be on the board. But also they might be looking to get up in the draft. Maybe that's a way. And I love what you put there with Kansas City. They're still looking for a receiver that won't garner as much. Of course, they know him from all the playoff battles and regular season games. So look out for that team as well with Kansas City there. I'm trying to figure out where would you see T. Higgins get traded to if the Bengals comply and get it done.
I would probably say, like, I got a couple places. I don't think they're going to trade him to Kansas City because you know how they're rivals, right? And you don't want to make your rival even stronger than they are and give them a number one wide receiver in T. Higgins. But Mahomes and T. Higgins would absolutely be bonkers. But I just don't think Cincinnati would want to do it. So a couple other teams is I would, if I'm the Jets, because Aaron Rodgers is up there in age, right? He's probably got 1 or 2 years left in him. You give him all the weapons and surround him with all the great weapons that you can and go all in because you have to at this point. I mean, that's why I would go get Aaron Jones. I would trade the Jets' first-round pick for T. Higgins because I think it's worth it. I think that, like, the player that you get as a rookie that you draft, he's going to need time to develop, especially if it's like a tackle or a guard. So you might as well just go sign a proven offensive lineman, then go out there and get a you might as well get a proven offensive lineman instead of drafting one. So I think that for the Jets, they are a team to watch out for. I could see it. T. Higgins with Garrett Wilson, I think, would be deadly in that AFC East. I'm trying to think of some other teams that could do it. Maybe Carolina, because Carolina needs a number one receiver. And, I mean, they're signed Robert Hunt to a massive, 5-year, $100 million plus deal. So they are obviously looking like that. They're going for it. Or going to try to make the playoffs to win that division. So I could see that. Maybe Atlanta, James, with Kirk Cousins now there. I mean, you have
Yeah, yeah. Since
London.
you got their quarterback, they can either draft a receiver or trade
Yeah,
for Higgins. That would be interesting.
yeah. So I probably would say that those teams. I'm trying to think of some other teams that could make sense. If you're the 49ers, would you trade Ayuk for T. Higgins?
If Ayuk is that disgruntled and he wants to get out before it leaks out, I would do that.
Okay, so that could fit. I mean, Ayuk is better than T. Higgins, I feel like. But I feel like that T. Higgins, he might command less than Ayuk would want. So that's why I would do it. But if I'm the Niners, what I would do is I would part ways with Debo Samuel and keep Ayuk because I think Ayuk doesn't rely on speed. He's a tremendous route runner, and even if like Debo Samuel, once you start aging, your athleticism, your speed, it's gonna sap away from you. And so with Ayuk, yes, his athleticism might sap away, but guess what? He will always be open because he runs amazing, perfect routes. He's just a tremendous route runner, and I would rather trust that over a guy that just relies on his speed and his agility and his physicalness to get by people.
I do have another not breaking news, but for kickers, Chase McLaughlin is with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers now.
Ooh,
And then
okay.
Greg Zuerlein is back with the New York Jets. Those are your kickers moves.
We love kickers. We love special teams, James. We love
I did see your 49ers did make a move today. They re-signed third-string quarterback Brandon Allen. Yay. Let me go out west real quick with the LA Rams. You can ram it all day. You can ram it all night. The Rams today, they made a couple of moves. They got tight end Colby Parkinson on a 3-year, $22.5 million deal. The Rams know him very well, of course. But they also beefed up their offensive line. And I'll tell you how with that Ram logo that looks like something in the middle. Jonah Jackson, the offensive guard, 3-year, $51 million deal. Man, the offensive linemen are getting paid today.
They are. Damn.
Jackson going from Detroit to LA. So they know each other very well, remember, in the playoffs this year. So, yeah, the Rams are making moves. And that was very good to see. I think more than Seattle has. Again, we're waiting for Seattle to make some moves. You know what's interesting, Isaiah? One team is kind of being quiet right now, and that is the Dallas Cowboys. Of course, they need some offensive line help. They need running back help now, especially with Pollard gone. They need some defensive help. And Michael Gallup now has received permission to seek a trade. So Michael Gallup, you could throw in that wide receiving corps or a group to see where he goes. You know, we were just talking about T. Higgins asking for a trade. Well, Michael Gallup, who gets lost in that offense sometimes in Dallas, he might be gone from Dallas. So we'll see what happens. That's just coming up now. Not really breaking news, but it's I think it was overdue. It seems like with CD Lamb that, you know, he gets most of the catches, the chances. So Michael Gallup again gets lost in that fold.
Also, other news that has just come up, 49ers tight end Charlie Warner is signing with the Atlanta Falcons. He's a really good blocker, as well as he's a decent pass catcher, but he's more known for his blocking. 4 years or 3 years, $12 million. So looks like San Francisco will need a backup tight end now, opposite of Kittle. I mean, we do have Cameron Latu, but he would never really played this past season. So I mean, he's in line for a bigger role now if he could stay on the field and perform. Also, James, here's something very interesting. According to Jordan Schultz, the Giants, very interesting, never made an offer to keep Saquon in New York. So
I
that's
can
very
see that
surprising.
though. I can see that just because they know they've embarrassed him.
Yeah.
I believe that. Being the whole offense, you kind of feel like they've kind of ran their time with him, and eventually they knew a parting would happen. So I think they went the smart way. It was first signing Daniel Jones to that big contract off season. Once that happened, I think Saquon knew, okay, I don't want to be here because I was supposed to get that money over Jones. I've been here longer. They ranked like 30th in points per game. They were, almost dead last in yards per game. And I think with a better quarterback, it would have been I think Barkley would have stayed, but man, it just shows you the Giants are in shambles. Now, well, they can't get out of Jones's contract. They have to just eat it. Like I said, I think after next year they'll eat his contract, but he'll probably be around. We'll see if they draft a quarterback like J.J. McCarthy or Michael Penix Jr. They hold the 6th overall pick in that draft this year, and there's so much more importance. Look out for Bo Nix as well.
Also, James, you forgot to mention this. Look out for Bill Belichick to the New York Giants in 2025 because
that's what I have.
That offense is going to be absolute dog crap. It's going to be just bad next season because Daniel Jones, he already was bad last year, and guess what? He tore his ACL. So quarterbacks that come back from ACLs, like, yeah, okay, you can recover from it, you can be back, but it takes a year or two to come back from that injury. So he's not going to be what he once was. And then they don't have weapons. I mean, look at that Giants wide receiving core. Is there really anybody on that wide receiving core that really scares you? I mean, who is their top wide receiver? Isn't it Sterling Shepard?
Yeah, that's pretty.
Yeah,
that's the longest tenured one.
I mean, let's face it. Like, no, I don't want to be disrespectful, but nobody's scared of Sterling Shepard.
God.
And Darren Waller, I mean, you know him well from his days with the Raiders. I mean, like, the guy's a good tight end, but he doesn't stay healthy. So I mean that defense is like, I understand if you have a the offense, but you have a great defense, you can win a lot of games. But the defense is not even that good too.
According to someone on X, this isn't good if this is the case. For me, it isn't good.
Oh God, Jamal Adams.
Okay, so no, it's probably worse. So I forget this dude's name. Ben Devine. He's a Chicago sports breaking news person. He has a check mark, so he's bound to be good on X. But he heard Justin Fields is a real possibility for the Raiders, and a reunion is possible. Uh-oh.
I knew it.
Uh-oh.
Oh my God.
This it could go from a day that was good to bad, just like that.
Well, I mean, James, what would be worse? I mean, what would be the worst move? Jamal Adams to the Raiders on a 1-year deal, or Jamal would be not bad on a 1-year deal, like, because you could cut him if he sucks. But Justin Fields coming to the Raiders, oh, good Lord.
I just don't want to see it. Oh, so let me tell you this. Breaking news in a way. The Patriots, according to Adam Schefter, informed wide receiver Devontae Parker that they are releasing him on Wednesday.
I saw that.
He's been given permission to talk to other teams.
He's been injured a lot the last several years. So, oh yeah, I'm looking at it now from the trade from the Silver Bulletin that covers it's a newspaper for Ohio State. Sources say that the Bears and the Raiders have had early discussions about a Fields trade. Fields offensive coordinator in Chicago, Luke Getsy's now the offensive coordinator in Vegas. The two have a strong relationship, and both sides are open to a reunion. Oh God. I mean, because we remember we talked about bridge quarterback for the Raiders. They're looking for a bridge quarterback to get to, or maybe get a reclamation project. That's why I'm not surprised. Justin Fields, Drew Lock, like all these names have been tossed the Raiders' way. Like I'm not surprised because it just screams that the Raiders are looking for like those guys that like are young, talented, need a fresh change of scenery. Like that's why they would be going after like a Drew Lock or a Justin Fields. Like it just matches it just matches those type of guys that they're linked to right now.
You know, it's funny. All those Bear fans that thought they were going to get Devontae Adams,
Yep.
just didn't happen. But I know that you're kind of, maybe with Fields going there, you're kind of getting a sense that they're putting it together, but in Las Vegas. What they could have had in Chicago, they're trying to get in Vegas. And I just don't like it though, because what I heard is that Getsy likes throwing screen passes, and the Raiders, they're not for that. They're for going deep and then having a good running game. And just seems like the Raiders, maybe with this move, are getting away from that. So I don't I don't like it. I don't like
I don't
this.
blame you.
If it happens, I hope that it doesn't go through and they'll think twice about it and just draft a quarterback. But I think they're so worried that there won't be one there left.
Mm-hmm.
But the good thing is that, hey, at least the Falcons are kind of off the board when you talk about quarterbacks, but you still have the Vikings there, and then the Giants, and then all the ones before them that will pick before, that they all need a quarterback. So it's just not. I hope this doesn't go through.
Oh my God, yeah, you're right. It would be you. By the way, speaking of the Vikings, so Benjamin Albright, who is a NFL analyst, he in Denver, he covers, I think he covers the Broncos. He said that the Vikings' next tier of quarterbacks that they're going to target now that Cousins is no longer a Viking is Zach Wilson. Zach Wilson, Jimmy Garoppolo, Jacoby Brissett, and also here's another one: trade for Trey Lance. That's another one that Minnesota could target. So, I'm not surprised about the Lance to Minnesota rumors, James. I'm really not. I think we've been hearing that from last off season as well. So, Minnesota clearly has interest in him, but I'd be very interested to see what my guy Steven says about this because I know he's a big Kirk Cousins fan. So I don't know how he's feeling right now. But yeah, there's been a lot of like crazy moves thus far. The Giants, like we talked about, they're going to be Brian Dable. Do you agree, James? It's going to be his last year in New York. Like I don't see a way where he will survive how bad that offense is going to be. We thought the Patriots offense was just so hard to watch and so cringeworthy. Wait till the Giants play this season. Their offense, they're not going to be. Saquon Barkley's gone. You don't have that running game anymore. They don't have a number one receiver. You're going to rely on Daniel Jones coming off a torn ACL. Like Brian Dable, you better. This is the year for you to show that you're an offensive genius, because you're going to have to make magic there in New York. So, the Giants are going to be bad. James, the whole city of New York is just in shambles right now. The Knicks lost last night to the Sixers in a horrific way. The Mets aren't signing anybody. The Yankees, Garrett Cole is having he's going to have an MRI on his elbow. The Jets, Aaron Rodgers, you don't know how he's gonna be. And now the Giants. So the whole state of New York is just in shambles right now.
I got something right now. The Houston Texans are expected to sign cornerback Jeff Okudah to a 1-year deal. He was a Falcon, and before that, a Lion. Remember, he was often injured, and he was drafted really high by Detroit. So he's bounced around. So finally, Houston has done something, but it's not too much.
I think that's an okay deal. I mean, I'm surprised. I thought Okuda wasn't going to leave Atlanta. I thought I thought he was staying. Um, but yeah, I mean, I thought he was going to stay there, but I didn't think he was going to leave. But wow, I mean, I'm surprised they let him walk.
Well, no, he's been bouncing around. It seems like, and eventually, uh, he'll be out of the league. It's just
Yeah.
unfortunate that the injuries have got to him. Again, he was such a great he was such a great college player. Then all of a sudden, just when you come to the NFL, just the body's not ready for it, I guess.
By the way, the Patriots deal for Antonio Gibson is 3 years and 11 million. So, yeah, I mean, it's not too bad, to be honest. It's 3 years, 11 mil. That's what, like three to $4 million a year, or $4 million, $3.5 million a year. So for a running back like that, that's not bad. Oh, how about with some news that we did miss from earlier today? Michael Pittman and the Colts finalizing a 3-year, $17 million deal, $46 million guaranteed. James, I love this deal for Michael Pittman because Michael Pittman is one of the best young receivers in the NFL. This guy is already a good receiver, and he's going to continue to get better and better and better. I mean, the guy's really young. He's the number one receiver for Indy. I wanted him on San Fran. Like I wanted us to trade. Like I think I was telling one of my friends the other day. Like I would not mind us trading Brandon Ayuk or Deebo Samuel from Michael Pittman because that's how good Michael Pittman is. Tremendous route runner. He's a very physical receiver. You just throw the football up in the air and he'll just go up and get it. Like that's the he's kind of reminds me of a younger version of Anquan Bowden. Like that's how good of a receiver he is. But what you think about this move? I mean, $24 million a year. It's a lot of money, but if you look at like what Pittman has put up and how young he is and how he's going to continue to get better, I mean, he has to be one of the building blocks for the Colts moving forward.
Yeah, there was no way they were going to let him get out of the building. He's pretty much their only threat, receiving wise. They were trying others, but none of them are as good as him. So they were not going to let him leave. It is a lot of money, but that's what it takes now to keep a receiver like him. So that is a really, really good deal, I think, for the team and for Pittman Jr. Remember when he first started, he wasn't really as featured. He wasn't doing as well. But now he's made his money, and he's going to try to be one of the best in the league.
How about the USC receivers, though, James? Amon-Ra St. Brown, Michael Pittman. I mean, you guys had Michael Pittman, Amon-Ra St. Brown, um, on the same team, and I'm forgetting. Oh, Drake London as well. You had all three on the same team, and sadly, due to Clay Helton's incompetence, the USC Trojans could never get past 8 wins. I mean, how freaking sad. But you know what, James? I got a crazy take for you. If I'm Indianapolis, you know what I do this offseason in the draft? I would pick Keaton Slovis in the 4th round and ride with him as my number one quarterback because he has shown that he's fast. I mean, look at what he did at the combine, and also Keaton Slovis is the perfect system Brock Purdy type quarterback where you rely on the run game, you surround him with weapons, and he can be successful. I mean, his best year at USC was when he had Michael Pittman, Drake London, and also Amon-Ra St. Brown running routes and also throwing the ball to them and getting them the ball in space. Like he would be perfect, I feel like, for Shane Steichen's system. So I feel like they should go get him because I feel like right now the Colts, and they have Anthony Richardson, but the problem is Anthony Richardson, he's not going to last in the NFL since Anthony Richardson is a running quarterback, and those guys, like with the way he plays, this dude is going to get hurt every single game if he continues to play like that, and he's not a good passer at all.
Yeah, that's true. I could see that happening. There's really nothing else. Maybe go back and we could talk really quick about So the Packers, you knew this eventually was going to happen. They released left tackle David Bakatari. I forgot to say his name. Bakatari. You just knew that was going to eventually happen. He keeps getting injured. So that wasn't really news to me when it happened. Let's see what else happened. Oh,
I'll tell you what that move means, James. Bakhtiari. Not surprised though, because he's been injured a lot with the Packers as of late. But it means, James, that David Bakhtiari will be heading to New York City to join the New York Jets. That's what he's gonna be. He's gonna be a New
wow.
York Jet.
Yeah, Rodgers. Yeah.
Yeah, because
Yeah. See that.
Rodgers, that connection. I think he was one of the very first that broke the Rodgers trade. He's always said he wanted to play again with Rodgers, and they need offensive line help. And I mean, he would be a cheap flyer if he stays healthy. He's a really good offensive lineman, but I mean, cheap 1 year deal. I mean, why not? But if I'm the Jets, Bakhtiari, I would get him. But Aaron Jones has to be one of your top priorities, as maybe, and also maybe trading for T. Higgins. I think that has to be priorities for the Jets.
All right, so the Buffalo Bills 4 hours ago are signing left tackle Deion Dawkins to a 3 years, $60.5 million deal. He trolled a lot of people on X today and on Instagram, thinking that he was going to be gone, but the Bills kind of prioritized keeping him around. So Dawkins is back with the Bills there. If he was gone, then I think you would be very, very worried about Josh Allen back there. He would have to get out of the pocket more and more. So I think that was a good veteran move there. Philadelphia Eagles, Landon Dickerson for a 4-year, $84 million deal, offensive guard. Again, today, among the other things, today is the day offensive linemen got paid. It shows you how much protection is important in other ways too, but for quarterbacks, it just shows you how important it is. And you're seeing the first day teams getting it done. Now you can see, hey, more running backs are going to be taken. Then you see how certain teams are going to go with quarterbacks being drafted. So it's just certainly the day where, you know, all these offensive linemen are getting paid, and that there's nothing really wrong with that. You remember the Raiders yesterday got Andre James back for a good healthy deal. There's really nothing else. We mentioned Okuda and Parker and all the other
Bryce
names.
Huff too. We forgot about him.
Who?
Bryce Huff.
Oh, he went to.
By the way, the Texans are signing defensive tackle Danico Autry, former Raider.
Former Raider.
Former Raider and Titan, 2-year, $10 million deal. So
I know he's been wanting to make some more money wherever he's gone. He's been bouncing around a lot. Oh, the Jaguars did get safety Darnell Savage, the former Packer, 3-year deal. I did see that. Where did the one guy you mentioned?
Bryce Huff?
Bryce Huff. I'm trying to find.
He went to Philly. 3-year deal. That's interesting now because remember they've been shopping Hassan Reddick. They've been shopping Montez or Josh Sweat. So I think that shows you that one of those guys is going to get traded, since you're not going to have how many. You can't have that many defensive linemen out there, or you could have it, but I just feel like with Josh Huff, he's one of the better defensive linemen on the market. So for him to go to Philly's spending money. They're trying to improve that defense. I think Josh Huff is a good start. He had last year. I give me 1 second. I don't know why the internet's all screwed up, because it says that Josh Huff plays Huff plays receiver, which makes no sense. There's probably another Josh Huff, I'm guessing. Or no, it's Brian Huff. Brian Huff, not Josh. Yeah, Brian Huff.
So it's a good under the line move for Philadelphia. I really think that, but they got to get rid of what was his name? Who'd you just mention? The Bradbury? Oh, no, not Brad. But yeah, they got to get rid of Bradbury. He's awful too. He kept getting beat deep.
Oh, he's
and
bad.
Hassan Reddick is it's time for both of them to go.
By the way, we keep screwing up the name. Sorry to the Huff family. It's actually Bryce Huff, not Brian or Josh. So, third time's the charm. But Bryce Huff to the Philadelphia Eagles. I think he got a 3-year contract, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he definitely helps the Eagles. James, where do you think Hassan Reddick will go now that Bryce Huff is there? Because you don't get Bryce Huff if you're not going to trade Hassan Reddick or Josh Sweat. So one of them is going to be traded most likely. So where do you think these guys go? I mean, Hassan Reddick, he makes a lot of money. So, and he's been, there's been talk already out there that he has requested or he's been okayed by the Eagles to go and, look for a trade. He's definitely not going to go to Dallas. I don't think the Eagles would trade him to Dallas. I couldn't see that. How about the Niners? They need defensive line help. I mean, Eric Armstead just got released. Would you do it though if you're San Fran?
No, I don't think I would. But
the guy that injured Brock Purdy, by the way, that's the guy that injured Brock Purdy.
Yeah, man.
The Raiders?
No, I wouldn't. No. I don't want him anywhere near. Maybe Seattle.
Oh yes, with Mike McDonald. Yep.
Yeah, maybe Seattle because I know they still need more defensively. Again, I think they'll re-sign Leonard Williams, who they traded for from the Giants, but they need more. I think they really, really do. Yeah, Bryce Huff going from our 3-year, $51 million deal to Philadelphia, just to piggyback on that. Yeah.
Oh my God. We have breaking news. Oh my God.
Oh boy.
The departures continue to leave the Giants. The Green Bay Packers, according to Adam Schefter and Ian Rappaport, are signing safety Xavier McKinney to a 4-year, $68 million deal that includes, James, $25 million in year one. So a safety gets $25 million in year one. Absolutely unfreaking believable.
The Packers keep just overpaying for defensive players. It's getting ridiculous for Green Bay. Remember, they went on that spree, like I mentioned on last show, and they signed all these players defensively, drafted all these defensive players. They got the Josh Jacobs thing done, not officially, but they got that done. Now they seem like, okay, maybe we can get better in the secondary. They did have some problems there. I mean, that division is based on throwing, so and then a good running game up the middle. So that's a good move, but again, I think it's just a little too much for someone that I don't know. It's a lot for him. I'll just say that.
$25 million. That's all you gotta know in year number one. I mean, you talk about Robert Hunt getting $100 million. I think he got 20-something million in year one as well. $100 million for a guard, and now we pair that up with $25 million in year one for a safety. I mean,
so I just read the Eagles had a deal in place, but the Packers stole it away for McKinney. So the Eagles were that close to replace Reddick at safety with McKinney, but Packers get him.
You mean Bayard?
No, with Reddick leaving the Eagles. That's what I meant right there was like the Eagles
Oh,
were
okay.
going to replace McKinney or replace Reddick with McKinney, but the Packers swept him up.
Yeah, I mean, this is the thing with Green Bay. They just overpay a lot, like you mentioned, and then they overpay a lot, like you mentioned, try to get some of these top defensive players. But I don't know. We'll see how it works out. But I mean, I just think it's like you mentioned, it's too steep. Like, what are you like? What are we doing out here? Especially, um, with these moves that are going on. Oh man, James, what is the biggest shock move to you right now? I'm pretty sure I know where you're gonna go with this, but if you had to, like, so far, like the first how many hours it's been? It's been like 4 hours free agency. What is
Right.
the biggest shocker to you?
Man, I would have to say no, I'm not even surprised by what the Panthers did. Like, you knew they would overspend for whomever went there. I'm not really shocked by that. I think, no, because Barkley was slated to the Eagles or Cowboys. Aaron Jones, you knew eventually would get gone. I think I'm more surprised about. No. Maybe what the Vikings have done defensively with their signings. I think I'm more surprised by that because even though they hold the number 11th overall pick, you didn't really think that they would go defensive in free agency. But I guess that's something they really needed. But the amount of players getting signed, that's really crazy. So yeah, I'm just say that.
You know where I'm going to go with this? Robert Hunt. That's the biggest shock. Did not expect
Yeah.
whatsoever a offensive lineman or guard, nevertheless, to get $100 million. I mean, you expected for a quarterback. You expected for a quarterback, wide receiver. Sure, why not? Defensive lineman. Yeah, I mean we've seen it before. But a guard, an offensive lineman, no way whatsoever. That, by the way, the Giants,
Yeah.
you see it? The Giants have found their Saquon Barkley running back. They are signing running back Devin Singletary to a deal reunion with former Bills offensive coordinator Brian Dable. James, my initial reaction is downgrade from Saquon. Devin Singletary has not been the same ever since his injury. He just is he's a significant downgrade than Saquon. He's a decent back, but you look at his numbers: 216 carries last year, 898 yards, 4 touchdowns. You look at what Saquon Barkley did with the New York Giants last year, and the Giants are probably going to be running the football a lot with Devin Singletary, but 247, 962 yards, 6 touchdowns. He was very effective as well in the passing game. I just don't like it. I don't know what Brian Dable and Joel Shane are doing. It reminds me, and I know we'll talk about winners and losers in a sec, but it really reminds me of Denver. Like Brian Dable, I feel like is trying to get all the Bills players. Sean Payton's trying to get all the Saints players.
Yeah, it's almost like a quick replacement. You're putting a band-aid on something you've heard and lost, but really that band-aid will come off. That's what it feels like with Singletary going to the Giants here. It just doesn't look like they're going to be competitive. And then when you think about and it's a 3-year deal, by the way, for Singletary. Yikes.
He's past his prime, honestly.
Yeah, running backs don't have that shelf life. Yeah, that's true. So the thing that gets to me, and maybe I'll say it when we go to this next topic here, but man, the Texas teams have been very, very quiet. That's what tells me this the moves that are going on. The Texas teams have been really, really quiet this free agency so far.
Developing stories. The Niners have expressed interest in linebacker Levante David. I think we talked about that as a
Ooh.
potential fit last night. So that could happen. Even though for me, I want Devin White, but I mean Devin White's younger, more explosive, but the problem is I don't think he would take a cheap contract like the Niners would offer him. So, but let's get into our next topic. I mean, biggest winners and losers from the first 4 hours thus far of free agency. James, I have to think about mine, so I'll go to you first on yours.
My winners, man. Ooh, for now, the winner for me, or one winner would be. I really think it's the Atlanta Falcons. I think they really needed that veteran quarterback to work with all of the young talent they have. I really, really think that. Green Bay, I think, is a winner as well with their moves today. Getting some brand names that could really do them well. The Colts retaining Michael Pittman and Tyquan Lewis up front. I think they've done a great job. The Jacksonville Jaguars, getting Will Lutz. They needed that kicker to help them. They had a problem last year with the kicking game, so I think that was a really good move. And then they get help with Savage, and then Gabe Davis when you really think about it. So that's a really, really great move there. And then the Vikings going defensive. I think those were all the teams that I think really, really upgraded today as a winner.
All right, James. For me, as far as my winners are concerned, number one on my list, it's got to be the Falcons. I mean, they were missing a quarterback like the Denver Broncos were a few years ago before they got Russell Wilson. Hopefully, this turns out a lot better than the Russell Wilson deal turned out to be. But for the Falcons, you look at their weapons. Kyle Pitts. He hasn't been used right in his entire career. I think he will be a great fit for the with Kirk Cousins. And then you look at the other guys, Drake London. You have Bijan Robinson. Like they have some really good weapons there. They just need a quarterback out there that can maximize it. And I really believe with what Raheem Morris is building there, that defense. I think that defense would be a lot better. The offense with Kirk Cousins there. I like it. I like that move a lot. I think Kirk is going to ball out there. I think the Falcons now it's a 2-team race now in the NFC South. I really believe, or it's a 3-team race. I think it's going to be between the Falcons, the Bucks, and the Saints. I mean, the Saints, Derek Carr, does he have any magic left? Who knows if he does? Who knows? There's talks that Michael Thomas could get released. That's one of the candidates because
I think he did already.
He got released?
Yeah, I think he did already. Or they're going to. They will eventually this week. But I think they already did.
Yeah, I just saw it. Saints to release Michael Thomas. Michael Thomas, even when asked about Dennis Allen 3 days ago, according to a local news in New Orleans, called Dennis Allen a loser. So definitely he's not coming back. And James, I don't know about you, but that's not a good look. Calling your head coach a loser on your way out. But in terms of Falcons, they definitely big winner right there. Kirk Cousins is going to have a tremendous season next year with the Atlanta Falcons. I think that
if
the
not
weapons
injured.
there. What's that?
If he doesn't get injured.
If he doesn't get injured, exactly.
That's what I'm worried about.
The Falcons' offensive line, they're not bad. Like it's not a bad group right there. Like they are a decent, good pass blocking group. I think they can add a few more pieces there. But I mean, if they can protect him, get the ball out to Bijan Robinson catching the ball out of the backfield, get the ball to Kyle Pitts, get the ball to Drake London, get the ball to the other weapons that they have, Tyler Algier. I mean, that's a really good group. And I think the Falcons will definitely be one of the most improved teams in the NFL next season. And the other winners, the Jags, like you mentioned, Gabe Davis, landing him was huge. What they're doing on defense, that's huge. Upgrading a kicker, I mean, that's huge. Will Lutz is Mr. Automatic. So love that move for the Jags. And then, the other move that I would probably, or the other winner that I would probably say is my biggest winner. And James, you would want to see this, but I'm gonna rip off my shirt for this. And don't worry, I have a shirt underneath, so I'm not gonna go completely bare chested. But James, this is my biggest winner right here, right here. Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy is my biggest winner, and here's why. Because there's been rumors circulating for the last 2 years. Oh, Kirk Cousins is going to come to the Niners to replace Brock Purdy. Kirk Cousins this, Kirk Cousins that, Kirk Cousins this. There's been so much uncertainty. And James, finally today at 12 p.m. Pacific time, noon Pacific time, all that uncertainty got put to bed, and Brock Purdy officially became the franchise starting quarterback of the San Francisco 49ers for good, and I cannot wait to ride with the GOAT, Brock Purdy. So that's, for me, that's one of my biggest winners, because there's been just so much uncertainty, so much rumors. Oh, Kyle Shanahan wants to reunite with Kirk Cousins. Kyle Shanahan might get Kirk Cousins, and Brock Purdy's going to play good. Kyle Shanahan this, Kyle Shanahan that, Kirk Cousins this, Kirk Cousins that. All of that got put to bed today. Finally, the Niners have clarity at the quarterback position. So for me, that's he's one of my biggest winners. And I gotta say, your Raiders, Jay, the doom and gloom. Remember how you were telling me all your sports teams, why are does bad stuff always happen to them? Well, your teams are looking up, man. I mean, the Raiders, Christian Wilkins, big signing there. The Raiders have, really done a lot of good stuff after firing Josh McDaniels. So definitely for me, they are one of my biggest winners.
Okay, I have a signing here. It's not breaking. It's not really breaking news, but the Steelers had a hard time last year with Harvin as their punter. He would have, really bad shanks sometimes. The Steelers go out and get Cameron Johnston, the former punter of the Houston Texans. He goes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. I think that's a really, really good signing because they really needed a different punter. Field position is so damn key, and it was just not happening with Harvin there. There was so many times I would watch Steeler games, and it just seemed like they were not able to flip the field so well. And I think this move helps them, especially with the new quarterback now, Russell Wilson, going there. So that's a good move, I think, definitely for the Pittsburgh Steelers punting game.
Yes, special teams gets mentioned. We love our special teams here on the IM6 network. So congratulations to the kickers and the punters. James, are you surprised that we've seen so many kickers sign this early? I don't think we've seen this many kickers sign on the first day of free agency. I mean, that's how crazy this free agency has been.
It shows you how important the kicking game really is, because we saw that during the season some issues, and it's good though. It just shows you everybody is getting addressed, not just the big positions. Everyone is.
Yeah, definitely. In terms of some other stuff that is, coming out right now, there is talks that the Chicago Bears the Chicago Bears are in touch with Chase Young's camp. So
wow, man, that is crazy to me. That how Washington traded Sweat to Chicago.
Yeah,
and Washington traded Young to San Francisco, and now it can all connect if Young goes to Chicago. I just don't like him Because, dude, if he really sags off and doesn't play hard in Chicago, that's really going to look bad. And then other teams would not make that move, for him. They would be a loser in that way if they got him. If we could do our losers real quick of the
let's do it.
Because again, I'm looking at both Texas teams, even though the Nico Autry, went to Houston, and then Jeff Okuda, but that's been it for Houston. I thought they were going to go out and get some more. And they did get Lonnie Johnson from the Saints as well, but I thought they were going to get more brand names. Maybe Austin Eckler maybe goes there, but they were in the Saquon Barkley running. Now maybe both Texas teams are in the running for Derrick Henry. Maybe that's going to be the case there. Somebody mentioned me. Derrick Henry's off-season house is in Dallas, so if you think that maybe he's going to go there, maybe that would be the case. But imagine Henry with the Houston Texans. That would be crazy. Or Eckler as well. But Dallas, we're waiting for Dallas to have a move. Remember, they lost Pollard. They're waiting for something to happen. But I think that's kind of troubling if you're a Cowboy fan, because you're always expecting someone to sign with you. And then they did lose to Washington, Deorance Armstrong, for a 3-year deal. So the Cowboys not being active, they're a loser for sure. Man, I don't know if not really anybody else. Maybe Washington, because they haven't really done anything except getting Johnson, like I just mentioned, or Armstrong, excuse me, like I just mentioned. But they haven't addressed any receivers. I think Ben and I had Gabe Davis, but that didn't happen. So in Tennessee, at least they went out and got Pollard. But I think my losers are the two Texas teams and Washington so far.
Yeah, I mean, for me, by the way, I just realized A.J. Dillon is a free agent, so that also adds a wrinkle to the whole Packers running back. Now we know why they signed Josh Jacobs, because it tells
they'll probably draft a running back late in their draft, probably.
Yeah, because we were like, okay, why did they sign Josh Jacobs? Because we thought, okay, they have Aaron Jones. We didn't realize A.J. Dillon was a free agent. A.J. Dillon's a free agent. Aaron Jones gets cut now, and Josh Jacobs is there. It shows you they didn't have any faith in Aaron Jones or A.J. Dillon. I don't think they had any faith in Jones, because he was always hurt. They probably thought he was already washed. And then Dillon was productive last year, but he wasn't as productive as like years past. So maybe they just think he's like Tony Pollard, where he's more of like a complimentary back than a featured number one back. So,
but man, they're gonna have to deal with Josh Jacobs though, who now is often injured and older. Man, the Packers maybe in a couple of years will have to really rethink what they're going to do with running back. I do have one re-signing with the Colts here.
Okay.
Defensive tackle Grover Stewart re-signed with the Colts, a 3-year, $39 million deal. Defensive tackle up front, the big fella, number 90. You couldn't miss him.
No.
You saw him on the field. So the Colts, quietly, they're having a great day. And I got some breaking news. It's not really big here, but the Chargers are on the board.
I saw that.
They are signing former Ravens running back Gus Edwards to a 2-year deal. So you could guarantee they're not going to keep Eckler. And remember, they were in the run for Barkley, but I think he wanted too much money for them. But Eckler should be gone, maybe to Houston or to Dallas, possibility there. But Gus Edwards is a Charger, and he's often injured too.
He goes from John Harbaugh to Jim Harbaugh. So
yeah, I didn't think about that.
Yeah. But for me, as one of my losers, well, let me add one more winner. running backs. Because remember, we always talk about running backs aren't getting paid.
Money.
Running backs are always pissed. Well, now running backs are getting paid. I mean, if there's one thing that really stands out besides Robert Hunt getting the massive deal that he got from the Carolina Panthers, the biggest thing that stands out today, James, is the fact that these running backs are going crazy off the market. I mean, look at the running back class that we have this year. I mean, I kind of expected we would have fireworks from the running back class because we had DeAndre Swift, we had Tony Pollard, Saquon Barkley, Josh Jacobs, Derrick Henry, Austin Eckler, J.K. Dobbins, Devin Singletary, Zach Moss, A.J. Dillon, Alexander Madison, Gus Edwards, Clyde Edwards-Helaire, Ezekiel Elliott, Cam Akers, to name a few, Derrick Henry as running back free agents. So you knew there was going to be a lot of movement, but I don't think we expected this much movement. Saquon getting paid, then DeAndre Swift getting the money that he did, Tony Pollard, Josh Jacobs. Like, there's going to be a lot more movement in the coming hours and days when it comes to the running back market. Like, it's going to be crazy how much upheaval we have. So props to all the running backs for getting paid and getting their bag. In terms of my biggest loser, I would say my biggest losers are the Carolina Panthers. They reached for Robert Hunt. Like, you don't give a guard $100 million plus. It just never ever works out. I'm in favor of people getting paid, but you don't give a guard that much money. You just don't. Like, this guy now has to be Trent Williams. He has to go to Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl after Pro Bowl every year. He has to only give up like one sack a year. And at a position like that, where I mean, guards, I feel like you could draft a guard easily. Like, you could really draft a guard. I don't know why the Panthers went out. Like, I know they have to improve their offensive line and you get a veteran in there, but that is way too much money to give to a guard, and they probably overpaid him by like $20 million per year than the other teams were willing to give him. So that's one of my biggest losers. Another loser is the Miami Dolphins, James. They lost Christian Wilkins. They lost Robert Hunt. They've lost a lot of players so far in free agency on defense as well as offense. I mean, the Dolphins were a team that a lot of people thought were going to contend this year, and they had a really good offense, but now you lose a lot of pieces. It's going to be interesting to see how Mike McDaniel, Chris Greer, and others restock. The Patriots, sadly, are another one of my losers. I know they got Antonio Gibson, but I expected New England from the jump to be very aggressive. I thought they would just shell out money and get like big time free agent after big time free agent after big time free agent, and they haven't done it. I mean, they've only gotten Antonio Gibson. It just seems like Bill Belichick is still running that front office, even though he's not. But I expected the Patriots just to be like the Jags and just go get this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy, because they have so many holes that you just cannot fill through the NFL draft. You have to go get premier talent and veterans, and they have a lot of money to do it. So I thought they would do it, but it seems like the Patriots are really committed to the rebuild. And then my other biggest losers of free agency is, sadly, James, it's the Niners. I don't know what the Niners are doing. They're not doing anything this far. I thought they were going to be aggressive. They released Armstead. They've lost Warner. There's reports Kyle Juszczyk might be cut. Like, they're losing a lot of key players, and it just seems like that they're like, all this. It just seems like it's that time where these contenders have all these like mass upheavals now. And the Niners are seemingly like they're going through it. And then the last loser that I would have is the New York Giants. I mean, you lost Saquon, you replaced him with Devin Singletary. He's a massive downgrade from Devin Singletary. And I just don't see how Brian Daboll is able to survive next year.
I like how you rhymed.
What's that?
I like how you rhymed there.
Dabo, Avo.
Hey.
This is why I should rap, bro.
No,
Come on.
No.
Oh man. But yeah, I mean, it's been a crazy day thus far. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have a lot more moves coming up. Soon enough.
Oh, I got well. It's not big, but the Bengals are signing former Ravens safety Geno Stone.
Yep,
That's
just saw
yeah.
that. Geno Stone.
Ravens are losing some players, but they could be often injured. So look for them to get a running back. Hey, that Derrick Henry to Baltimore thing. Look into that maybe later on today.
By the way, Geno Stone was second in the NFL in interceptions. So Bengals got themselves a good one. He had 7
Okay,
INTs last year. Big key
that's
piece
what
in the
they needed. They need it because they already have the young corner already on the other side. He really
Yep.
did well last year. He was a ball hawk, and now you get another ball hawk. But I thought they were. I like that they got another corner, but I thought they were going to get another linebacker like Van Ginkel. But this is good though. But they have to stop the run though. That's the only problem.
Also, Cameron Johnston has agreed to a deal with the Pittsburgh
Yep.
Steelers,
Yep.
the punter. So yeah, I think we mentioned that. But yeah, wow, a lot of crazy stuff has happened thus far in free agency. It's going to be interesting to see what will happen next. Also, James, I just read that the Raiders are a team that has touched base with the camp of Javon Kinlaw. So
Yeah. Okay. That's fine. I know he was highly drafted, highly regarded, but I don't know what was the problem with him in San Francisco with the Niners. What was the problem with him?
often injured, and he was like kind of like a Solomon Thomas. Like he
Yeah,
couldn't get
okay.
home to quarterbacks. You just put a one-on-one with against him, like he would not be able to even he wouldn't be able to get past like a guy that like a guard that was guarding him. So I don't know, he just didn't have like the pass rush moves, and he was always often injured too.
Yeah, and remember Solomon Thomas ended up as a Raider, so it's funny how this all goes.
You know a guy, James, and you probably will be pissed off at me for saying this. You
Colin
know a
Farrell,
guy that would fit the Raiders, honestly,
who
is Chase Young. He would fit because he
man,
and you know what? I forgot to mention him as one of my biggest losers. He is one of the biggest losers because it looks like, and I
yeah,
know I don't want to overreact to the first day of free agency, but the first day of free agency is when like big money is being shelled out, right? And then the second, third, fourth day of free agency is when like the money like the slowly starts to dissipate. But Chase Young might be the next Taylor Rapp. A guy that goes from like getting a pretty good deal to getting like a 1 year.
no,
I could
no,
see it,
don't put
James.
both. No, but don't put both in the same category. Taylor Rapp was not regarded coming out of wherever Washington State
Yeah,
was.
Washington, yeah, but
Yeah,
here's the thing with Chase Young though. His
Chase Young
offense,
was drafted really high though.
no, he was, but what I'm saying is like he could be the next Taylor Rapp in terms of like a guy that was gonna get a decent contract to now like maybe having to settle for like a 1 year, $3 million.
Javion Clowney.
What's that?
Davion Clowney would
Davion
be.
Clowney, yeah,
I
like
would I would put him toward that one because remember Clowney had all that promise coming out of South Carolina, and then he was just like sometimes a no show for Houston, and he's been bouncing around ever since. So the comp I think is more for Chase Young is Davion Clowney, just because of I know he wasn't like the first pick or whatever, first
yeah.
two or three, but just based on ability, but injuries and an attitude. I want to take both. Why are you giving me all the players for the Raiders with issues?
Well, because the Raiders want to sign the bad
I
boys.
know that's bad
Antonio
though.
Pierce and we want to be the bad boy Pistons, basically. Like,
We don't need
so
that.
but Chase Young's also a big for me. Like one of the biggest losers, just because like I
Yeah,
could see him like with the off the field, or not the off the field, like the injuries, like on the field when he does play, he doesn't give full effort. Like who wants to sign him? That's why I could see him sticking in San Francisco on like a 1 year, $4 million cheap deal just to like prove his worth, basically.
damn 4 minutes. Yeah, that's no.
Uh,
I think he'll get 6 possibly. I don't know, but yeah, it's far less than what he would get if he was on the right trajectory.
Josina Anderson is reporting that she's hearing that the Commanders and Raiders have made preliminary inquiries on running back Austin Eckler. So, Tom Telesco connection right there, James. The Tom
Oh,
Telesco.
I wouldn't mind. Yeah, because I was thinking about the other day because somebody in a Raider Facebook group or wherever mentioned the possibilities of Austin Eckler going there. And I'm thinking to myself, man, he's had some really good games over the years against the Raiders. Last year, he was barely used. And the one thing I'm kind of embarrassed about if he does become a Raider, if that happens, remember when they were trailing by like 50 some points in that Raider game against the Chargers last year? He got a first down and then he pointed, toward, how they do for a first down. Became a big meme everywhere. So I'm hoping he would redeem himself maybe and get away from that moment. He'd be a good back. You know what though? Check this out. He would be a good fit in a Luke Getsy offense. You know how I mentioned he likes to throw screens and all that? I think that's the perfect guy if you have Eckler there. Of course, I hate it, but I think that would be a good move if you're looking at the scheme of things. It would be a good move. I don't think that's too bad of a deal. When you think of Washington, though, that's also a good move there, but they have to figure out who the hell is going to be their quarterback. If it's Jalen Daniels, that would be a great move as well. We've seen JJ McCarthy, of course, move up in the mock drafts, but I'm just like we mentioned yesterday, I'm really shocked about Jalen Daniels, how much his stock has risen ever since winning that Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, I mean we definitely I mean for me Daniels is not a surprise because Daniels is a surprise because like I didn't expect him first round like top 3. That's crazy in of itself. But how about the rise of JJ McCarthy, James? I mean, people are talking about this dude as like, you know what the murmurs were at the combine? The rumors were that he was going to be potentially moving into the top 10. I mean,
absolutely wild.
He was a bubble first round pick.
Yep.
On the bubble being a first round pick, and then now after a combine, he's potentially talking about like potentially going into the top 10. I mean, that's insane. The jump of JJ McCarthy. I mean, before this year, people talked about JJ McCarthy as like a 3rd or 4th round pick, and now he could potentially go top 10. I mean, that's just how insane that is.
Let me give you Daniel Jeremiah's 2024 mock draft really quick. Picks 1 through 10. So Williams going to Chicago number 1, May going number 2 to Washington, and then guess what? The Patriots would draft receiver Marvin Harrison Jr. That's wild. So they want to draft a quarterback. Number 4 would be Malik Neighbors from LSU going to Arizona. I could see that. The Chargers would draft Joe Alt, Notre Dame. I could see that at 5. And then Jalen Daniels actually went down a little bit, going to the Giants at number 6. Then you mentioned J.J. McCarthy. He would go 8th to the Falcons. I don't know about that, though. I don't know about that. But the Bears, they would come up well with Rome Odunze. I can't remember his last name, how to say it. But he would go to the Bears there. So just a little bit of a taste there. Yeah, Von Bell was cut by Carolina, right?
Yes, he was cut by Carolina. That was actually a big free agent signing a couple years ago, and now he's out in Carolina. So, yeah, I mean, some of these players that we see sign big today, they might end up not being there after a couple of years. So we won't know how it pans out. But yeah, that was a signing that I think he will get signed again, maybe like a cheap 1-year, 2-year deal. But I mean, he's a guy that I was shocked that didn't pan out.
Well, it is Carolina, though. A lot of players haven't
That is
worked out
true.
there.
That is true.
I just it's more of a internal issue there with Carolina, and that's why they had to pay that lineman so much to go there.
Yeah, and I wouldn't be surprised, James, as our final topic before because there's really not a lot of stuff going on, so most likely we'll conclude for the day. We may do a recap show tomorrow, depending on what kind of moves. By the way, Jordan Schultz, Josh Jacobs' deal with the Packers, 4 years and $48 million. So with 12.5 million in guaranteed. So that's a steal, dude.
Yeah.
12.5 million guaranteed. That's it. Like that's a really good deal for the Cheeseheads.
But he was not going to get that with the Raiders. He was never going to get a 4-year deal. It was going to be 2 or less every damn time. That's why they tagged him each time. It was never going to go over 3. No doubt about that.
Yep. So, yeah, Josh Jacobs, 4 years and $48 million deal with 12.5 million in guaranteed money. By the way, I'm reading a report. I know this is not football related, but I am reading a report right now. I don't know how accurate this is, but I am reading a report that the Yankees have re-registered interest in Blake Snell. So after the
wow,
after the
again,
injury,
what I told you about the Angels yesterday or whenever it was. Oh yeah, yesterday with Ben, that the Angels, they had interest in him, but they never thought they would get close to signing him, and now they're kind of balking at that. They don't really want him. They don't really want to sign anyone. So, quickly, can you talk about why the 49ers released Armstead?
I think they reportedly had wanted him to take a pay cut because he is coming off knee surgery. They have a lot of players that are coming up that they have to pay big money to, like Brock Purdy, Christian McCaffrey. I know restructured his contract, so they're kicking the can down the road, or they're going to have to pay a monster money in 2025 and 2026. So they're going to be in salary cap hell in 2025. So that's why they have to win a Super Bowl this year just to make it worth it. But they released him just because they wanted him to take a pay cut. He agreed to take a pay cut, but he did not agree to take the pay cut at the sum that they wanted him to take the pay cut at. So that's why he's released. But I just think they want to get younger. I mean, that defensive line, Bosa, Armstead, I feel like it's getting older now. He's getting more injured. So I feel like they want to get younger. And that's why I thought like they were going to get a Christian Wilkins or maybe a Danielle Hunter, just because you don't release a guy like Eric Armstead, who is one of your more productive players, without having a replacement set in stone for him. So that move, James, kind of really it really opened up my eyes, just because I'm like, why would you do it if you don't have a replacement already? So it's going to be interesting. I think that a guy that I could see, like we mentioned a couple of days ago, the Bosa brothers could be reunited. Khalil Mack could be, because remember, Brandon Staley is now one of the guys running our defense. So we could see that in San Francisco. But I don't know. Maybe like a guy like who's a good interior defensive lineman that's really good against the run and also can take double teams and triple teams away from like the edge rushers.
We'll find out soon. I
There's
know
talks.
that
There's talks DJ Jones could be the guy, the former Niner, went to the Broncos. He could be cut by the Broncos, but that's a rumor that oh, by the way, breaking news. We have breaking news regarding your Las Vegas Raiders.
Oh no.
The Raiders, the according to Ian Rappaport 29 seconds ago, have agreed to terms with quarterback Gardner Minshew on a 2-year deal. He will compete with quarterback Aiden O'Connell. Also, according to Vic Tafer of The Athletic, who covers the Raiders, he just confirmed it. The Raiders have also inquired with the Bears and are talking with the Bears on a potential Justin Fields trade. So it looks like, Dave, it could. The Justin Fields rumors are getting louder and louder and louder.
God, dude. Oh
And
my
now
God.
Gardner Minshew is a Raider.
All the mediocre quarterbacks are coming to the Raiders, dude. And then you got to figure out when are they going to get rid of Jimmy G, which would have to be as soon as they get one of these quarterbacks, you would think. Gardner Minshew, we talked about him yesterday. We thought that he was going to stay with the Colts and he would be a solid backup. I guess that's not too bad, but damn, when you put about the rumors that we were talking about earlier with Fields, it just goes back to the Lugetzi type of offense and what it could mean. And if you throw in a Eckler or another running back who can catch, swing passes, screen passes as well. Man, Isaiah, this day has all the roller coaster loops for the Raiders. I mean, you start off well with Wilkins, you lose Jacobs, and then now you get Minshew. It's like, okay, mediocre, he's not a starter. And then the rumors of Fields just keeps climbing. And then you wonder, Isaiah, what the Raiders are going to have to give up in order to get him. Will they give up that first pick, which I hope they don't? That would be overdoing it. I would hope maybe, at least don't go as higher than a third pick, third round pick, I would hope. There's also some other news here. The Houston Texans are signing former Browns cornerback Michael Ford Jr. to a 2-year deal worth 4.5 max value on that. He was a good corner for them. But the Houston Texans are finally making moves, but they're little by little. They're not overwhelming moves like we were thinking Texas or Houston would do. Again, we're waiting for Dallas to make their moves. But, man, I'll get to the Raiders in my final thoughts. But, man, it's just it's embarrassing now.
It went from a great day to potentially just
2-year deal for Minshew? 2-year deal. Please. Oh, my God, dude. What is going on?
By the way, I want to see how much money that Gardner got. I want to
say right now, but
oh my God, if he could, well, here's the thing: he could get starter money because remember he started a lot of games for the Colts last year because Anthony Richardson got hurt.
He shouldn't get starter money though; he hasn't earned it.
Oh my God! Oh, Gardner Minshew to the Raiders, 2-year deal. Oh God!
You get like anybody. I would have been mad if it was like anybody else almost. Like,
man.
Oh my God, dude! This has been. See, this is why I hate following teams or liking teams. I've been a Raider fan all my life, but you can see like the ups and downs of this team is just here. It's always here and there, man. I didn't mind Jacobs gone, but man, when you replace other people, it's literally a good day and a bad day.
Well, you could have this could be the Raiders' potential quarterback room. Aiden O'Connell is your third. Gardner Minshew is the backup. Justin Fields as the starting quarterback.
I don't want either. I don't want all three. I don't want all three, man. Look, Uncle Rico is coming to the Raiders, dude. I hate this. And I know he's considered a gunslinger, which would be great. And maybe Devontae Adams will like him. But, man, when he starts throwing picks, that's when I think we're going to have issues.
Well, and there's also talk that you guys could have a quarterback competition where you just have a rookie Aiden O'Connell and Gardner Minshew compete for the starting job. Like a
Yeah, no
bone.
matter what, it's going to be a competition. Yeah, it doesn't matter who it is.
It's gonna be quarterback mediocrity. Oh God.
That's what I hate about this. It's like the one thing we need is a bona fide quarterback, and they keep bargain hunting. Even though they say they have money, well, they spent a chunk of it on Wilkins, but now that's left them different.
Oh my God, he got starter money.
What was it?
2-year 20. It's not really like starter, but 2-year 25 mil, $15 million fully guaranteed.
That is stupid. That is so stupid.
That's your new starting quarterback for the silver and black.
And what does Justin Fields make? Like $8 million?
I think so, yeah.
Oh my God, that's so bad.
Oh my God.
God, dude, this is so bad. There's nothing that verifies this. It's like he's never shown that he could be. Yes, he was a Pro Bowler last year, but that's because nobody wanted to go to the Pro Bowl last year. Oh, I have something here. All Pro Special Teams player Devin Duvernay has agreed to a deal with the Jaguars, a 2-year deal worth 8.5. With incentives, he could get 12.5. Remember him with the Baltimore Ravens returning punts and having issues with that.
Yep.
Duvernay, going to the Jaguars.
Damn. The Jags, look, the Jags are one of the biggest winners of like the first day thus far. They have done a lot of good stuff.
I'll tell you what now. Kay Adams mentioned this on Twitter with Justin Fields. She thinks that the Raiders are one less spot for Justin Fields.
But here's the thing, though. I would rather, if you're the Raiders, would you rather not have Justin Fields than freaking Gardner Minshew as your starter? Because here's the thing. You're not going to give Gardner Minshew 2-year, $25 million, $15 million in guaranteed money if he's not starting.
That's so bad.
So he's going to be the starter next year. Like, even if you draft a rookie, he's going to be your starter. It's like Jimmy G 2.0, but with less money.
This is so bad, dude.
Oh my God!
I just want to go start like walking or running somewhere. This is so bad, dude.
Imagine if he busts. Because the thing with Gardner is that he's a solid backup, but like he always has like 3 games where he's so good, and then he has like that one absolute awful like trash, just garbage game.
You know who that sounds like? Derek Carr.
Oh God.
That sounds like Derek Carr. It literally does.
Jesus. Well, I guess we will end the show on that note. Raiders signing freaking Gardner Minshew. 2 years, $25 million, $15 million in guaranteed money. Looks like that's going to be the starting quarterback for the Las Vegas Raiders. So, James, are you not ready for Minshew Mania in Vegas?
I'm not. I don't have time for that. I have to win games, and this crap happens, and, you know, I don't like it, dude. I do have one final thought. I have to say.
Oh yeah, before you get into that before you get into that though, the last topic I do want to get into quickly before we end the program for the day is I want to I want us to predict what free agent, because there's been a lot of free agents that have come off the board. Who are some free agents that you think will come off the board next? If you have to make a guess, for me, James, I'm gonna go. I think Daniil Hunter. I think that it's been too quiet on his market. I think Mike Onwuemenu, I keep butchering his name, but Mike Onwuemenu, the guard for the Patriots, I think he's probably going to come off the board fairly soon. And then I really believe that, there's a lot of like Eckler, obviously, but I think we're going to start seeing some trades. So, like, I could see potentially a big bombshell that goes down sometime shortly. And you know what, James? I think Zach Wilson, believe it or not, is going to be the next one out because I think the Jets really want to move off of him to get a strong backup quarterback before the new league year opens up. So I'm gonna go say it. I think the next free agents that are off the board: Mike Onwenu, Daniil Hunter, and I think Chase Young gets off the board because I think he signs fairly quickly back with the Niners. But here's the thing: if Chase Young continues to wait, then he's going to have to settle on a very crazy cheap deal with his next destination. So for me, those are my next players that I think will be off the board. How about you?
With the Broncos, I think they'll either get Zach Wilson or Sam Darnold pretty soon. I think they see what the Raiders are doing at quarterback and they counter, I think, right away. I'm gonna definitely say that. Let's see. Daniil Hunter, I'm gonna say goes to Detroit. They haven't done anything. They've been real quiet. For Dallas, I think they really try to go after Derrick Henry. Maybe you see that in a couple of hours where talks ramp up for Derrick Henry for him to go to Dallas. And then one more I can think of is who I mentioned before, Leonard Williams. I think eventually gets a deal done with Seattle after looking at Daniil Hunter getting his deal. Or, I'm sorry, not Daniil Hunter. Christian Wilkins getting his deal. We'll see if Seattle overpays for Leonard Williams. So that's the ones I think that will make some deals and free agents get signed.
Oh, one more deal that I think will get signed. By the way, Giants are a team to watch as a potential trade destination. If Carolina decides to make star pass rusher Brian Burns available via trade, so yeah, apparently Carolina's talking about maybe making Brian Burns via trade, which will be absolutely huge if that were to happen. But let me see. I don't think there's any other move. Yeah, that has happened. So Jake Paul and Mike Tyson are fighting. So yeah, they are. They have agreed to terms on a fight.
Yikes.
Oh God. Yeah. Let's end the show there because that's all the crazy, or that's all the craziness I think we can handle for the day. But Jesus, it was a great watch party. 2 hours, 13 minutes. A lot of stuff happened. I mean, both of us kind of had a fear that there was nothing going to be going on to start. But gladly our fears were, nothing more than just dirt. So glad there was a lot of stuff that happened today. It was definitely very crazy. Your Raiders did a lot of stuff. Jaguars did a lot of stuff. I'm waiting for my team to do a lot of to do something in free agency, but hopefully in the next few hours we'll get some news. But James, let me start with you. What's your final thoughts and any announcements that you have for this show?
I have just two final thoughts. I mean, you can catch me, of course, on Halos in the Infield. I'm going to be doing more podcasts on that about my struggling baseball team, the Angels. Another announcement, you find me on C2C for Sports Minute and Entertainment Hour, and then for Baseball on Deck, so you can find me on there. Also, some breaking news today. The Clippers G League team is coming to my city in Oceanside, California, renaming themselves the San Diego Clippers. If you recall, in 1978, they were the San Diego Clippers moving from Buffalo, where they were the Braves. And now they're down here at the new arena, which is still being built. Next season, from Ontario, California, they will move down to Oceanside and be called again the San Diego Clippers. So I'm gonna definitely work at the arena, hopefully for all the teams, hopefully there. So it's a pretty good day for me, with some hope. And then the Raiders came and pretty much blew that away.
What do you mean? Christian Wilkins came. Come on, man.
Your Minshew came and you lose Jacobs, and then you.
By the way, James, I hate to interrupt you, but I think there is a report right now on X that the Gardner Minshew signing does not close the door on Justin Fields.
Right.
It just shows that if the Raiders, this move shows that the Raiders will either trade for Fields or they will just go and draft a quarterback. So,
yes.
that's what this move shows for the Raiders.
Yay. Okay, so yeah. And then the other thing too, I want to mention about Kirk Cousins. And this was a tweet on X by @Deadman_part3. He put up a tweet that I just that I got from Whistle Sports on IG. Fresh off a torn Achilles at age 35, Kirk Cousins, you will be remembered for this heist. Remember, that's a $180 million deal for 4 years and $100 million guaranteed. And I think we'll remember this day mostly for Kirk Cousins going to where I predicted, but only because his family, his wife grew up there. But I guess that was a good deal for me, knowing that, at least I got one prediction right. But it does hurt with what the Raiders have done today in a way. Other from Wilkins, everything else is kind of not transpired well. So it's been a fun show. I got to go. Take us out, Isaiah.
All right, guys, it's been a fun show. Great stuff. A lot of fireworks here in free agency. Appreciate James. Appreciate Ben for hopping on for a bit, as well as Sammy for making an appearance after a long hiatus. It's been a great show. Can't wait to see what kind of fireworks drop next here in NFL free agency. But free agency is off and running, folks. Thank you so much for tuning into our NFL free agency spectacle. We might do this again sometime tomorrow or maybe on Wednesday. Who knows, depending on all the stuff that goes down. But it's been a great show. Thanks to everybody that watched the show today. My final thoughts, James, is I hope the Niners do something because at least your team is doing something. My team's doing nothing. We're just sitting back here and just chilling. John Lynch might be in Cabo. Who knows? And just not realizing it's free agency. So please, we got to do something. We're losing player after player after player, and it's just not fun to watch. But, guys, it's been a great show. Make sure you guys tune in. Oh, breaking news, breaking news, breaking news.
What happened? What happened, Isaiah?
Breaking Woo! Just what I said. I want the Niners to do something. John Lynch and the Niners answered my prayers. According to Ian Rappaport, the Niners are signing defensive end Leonard Floyd to pair with Nick Bosa. Leonard Floyd is coming to the Bay. Initial reaction, great move. This is a great signing by the Niners. Leonard Floyd, he's not a number one pass rusher, but he's a damn good pass rusher when paired with a guy. When paired with a guy the opposite, that's a really, really good rusher. I mean, he had 9 sacks in his last year with the Rams. Last year with the Bills, 10.5 sacks. This dude has never had a season with less than 7 sacks. This dude can get after the quarterback. So I love this move for the Niners. He's had 2 pick sixes, I think, as well. But yeah, I mean, what a great move by the Niners getting Leonard Floyd. This was a guy that they were interested in him. 39.5 sacks the last 4 years. And yeah, I mean, it depends on the contract. I can't wait to see what he got from the Niners because that's gonna definitely be huge to see. But I mean, he's 31. trying to contend for Super Bowl. I like this move, James. I like this move a lot.
Wherever he would have gone would have been a great move, I think, because he's one of those undervalued player. Now we got to see what he gets, but he's a really, really good player. Nobody really thinks of him, but he's a really, really good player. I really think that.
Oh no, I agree. I think. All right. By the way, we do have the numbers. 2 years, 20 million.
That's not bad. He deserves more, to be honest with you.
That I agree. Hold on. We have another breaking news. Adam Schefter. Wow, right as we tried to close the show, we have breaking news. Free agent change of mind. Will Lutz, the kicker who agreed to terms earlier in the day with Jacksonville, has changed his mind. He is remaining with the Denver Broncos.
Wow.
Denver gets their kicker back. Wow.
Now, probably Sean Payton closed the doors on him and make sure he didn't leave.
Like a Doc Rivers situation.
No, that was
DeAndre Jordan, right?
Blake Griffin locking DeAndre in his house. DeAndre Jordan in his house. Yep.
Oh,
wow. You don't see that for a kicker.
No, you don't.
That's amazing to me. Wow.
I wonder what they gave him, because remember, Jaguars overpaid for Will Lutz. So Denver probably came back with a raise. They probably came back with something massive. But back to Leonard Floyd, it's a good deal. 2 year, 20 mil. I mean, does this close the door on Chase Young?
Yeah.
You think it closes the door on Chase Young coming back?
Yeah, I don't know. I think he alienated everybody, with not hustling against the Lion game against Detroit there, and then not really being a factor in the Super Bowl as much. Yeah, I think they're willing to not bring him back.
Yeah, I mean, I could only see it if it's like, let's say his market just completely tanks and he is on for maybe a 3 year or a 1 year, $6 million deal. If that's the case, sure. But if he's getting I would not give him what Leonard Floyd got, because I think Leonard Floyd is definitely a better player for sure than Chase Young. The thing with Chase Young is effort. That's the problem with Chase Young. He just doesn't have any. He doesn't give effort a lot of the times.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, what a way to end the show. I mean, all this boom and fireworks left and right on the program. We better end this, James, before we get more and more fireworks that breaks live on the air. And we end up going from a 2.5 hour show to doing a 5 hour program here tonight. But guys, it's been a great show. There's gonna be a lot more that happens. We probably will do we might do another drafts or a free agent spectacle tomorrow or Wednesday, who knows. But that's James. I'm Isaiah. It's been a great show. Appreciate everybody for tuning in. Stay safe, stay healthy, and also like and subscribe to the IM6 network, as well as the MI6 Sports Network on Facebook, YouTube, etc. We would really appreciate it. But it's been a great show. Stay safe, stay healthy, and we will see you guys next time here on the IM6 network. Have a great night, everybody.